Here's looking on.
All right, we are on. Welcome everybody to this week's episode of Weekly Dose with Dr. Uday. I am very excited. It's going to be all about weight loss. I have an amazing guest with me, Dr. Toomer. So we're going to be having a lot of fun, guys. So I'm going to start with introductions and then we're going to get right into it. So I'll start. So my name is Dr. Uday. I'm a board-certified family medicine physician. I'm based in Martinsburg, West Virginia. I co-own a primary care practice, namely Apple Valley Family Medicine. I also provide aesthetic services to my clients. And with both modalities, my goal is to have my patients not only feeling good, but looking good. And I'm the host of this podcast. I am going to take it over to Dr. Toomer. She's going to be giving us the scoop on weight loss. But Dr. Toomer, I'm going to let you introduce yourself. So go for it.
All right. Hello, my name is Dr. Catherine Toomer. I'm a family medicine and community health physician and founder and CEO of Health, Wellness, and Weight Loss Centers, which I founded around trying to change the shame to change model that we too often see in wellness and weight loss spaces, especially since when I needed help to lose weight and to reverse my diabetes and to survive my congestive heart failure from pregnancy, I needed help and I couldn't find it. So I became the doctor that I needed. And so now I am that doctor. I help others in one-on-one settings, in group settings, and I'm also now going to be teaching other physicians to do what I do so that we can help as many people as possible.
I love it. It's so well needed. So welcome, Dr. Toomer. Thank you so much. So let's see. Yay. So let's see. So how bad is the issue of weight loss and obesity from your perspective?
Okay. It's a problem. The weight loss itself is not the issue. It's actually the reasons why people are gaining weight and how our bias and prejudice about weight, being overweight and obese, is affecting our ability to help people. So what's happening is that the effects of having obesity and being overweight are being placed on the individual rather than on the conditions and the diseases that are causing weight in the first place. Weight is simply a symptom of something else. And unfortunately, when we have high blood pressure, we look for the cause. When we have diabetes, we look for the cause. Even when we have cancer, we look for the cause. But when it comes to having obesity or being overweight, we tend to put it onto the person. And so it is becoming increasingly a problem because our diets are changing, our level of activity is changing, but primarily the effects of our life and lifestyle on our stress levels, which is really what's causing a lot of the problem. Our stress levels and our glucose dysregulation, our body's ability to metabolize carbohydrates, are the reason that we're seeing so many or so much of an increase in obesity and being overweight at the moment.
Gotcha. So what would you say are the obstacles that you're finding with patients and clients that you see? What are the obstacles that people are running into to lose?
One of the obstacles we're running into is access to experts because one, we're not taught a lot about weight loss in medical school. We're not taught a lot about nutrition. We're not taught a lot not about physical activity. We're not taught a lot about the causes of weight gain. What happens before someone becomes a diabetic? What happens when someone is stressed for certain reasons and their body becomes insulin resistant? What happens with polycystic ovary syndrome? We're not really taught that part of it. And so when people need help, it's difficult for them to find it, especially in a place where their insurance will cover that treatment because, insurance companies for some reason are not on board yet. And mainly it's probably because many of us physicians have a lot of prejudice and bias around weight and weight gain and obesity that we aren't pushing it. Gotcha. We're not, so access is one of the biggest issues. The other is a lot of misinformation. Like I said, a lot of the information has been put on the individual. It's because you're eating badly. It's because you're exercising. It's because you're not exercising. It's because you're, what you're not doing or what you are doing. I can tell you, when I was 107 pounds, almost 110 pounds heavier than I am now, I ate far less than I do now. I had a toddler and a newborn. I was far more active than I am now. And at 58 years old, I'm actually now the weight I was in high school. And yet, but the only thing I did differently was that I got my blood sugars under control. I just focused on blood sugar. And that did it. And essentially, that's what I do a lot of in my program. I look for that dysregulation. I find it almost always, and then I treat it, or I help in, with the various pillars of weight loss, including treatment, to help counter it.
Gotcha. So what treatment modalities do you have available to your patients or clients?
Okay. The most common and the most effective are the new GLP-1s. They're not really new. Let me rephrase that. The GLP-1s have been around since 2005. And they've been around since 2005. We've been using them since 2005 for diabetes. Now, when diabetics were losing weight on that medication, no one seemed to care. And in fact, we started using it off label for weight loss because of that. And have been for many, many, many years. For some reason, it's become sensationalized. Now I have my theories on that, but it's become sensationalized and it's become polarizing. And it's and a lot of that I think has to do with the money that's being made and the money that's being made through the media and money that's being made through pharmaceutical companies. But essentially, GLP-1s have been and always probably will be the most effective ways of treating, and then also treating the other underlying causes like ADHD, anxiety, depression, or treating the insulin resistance with like polycystic ovary syndrome that we see. But again, that's also treated in the same way that you treat diabetes. So those are the most effective treatments. The appetite suppression is minor and temporary. And so, anyone can starve themselves to weight loss, but it's temporary and it doesn't last very long and it usually causes health problems. And so that's not really an advisable treatment for weight loss.
Gotcha. So what would you say, and I'm pretty sure this is what everybody's listening for, what tips would you give anyone that is looking to lose weight?
For anyone that's looking to lose weight, I always say, find out the reason why you gained it in the first place. And don't blame yourself completely for all of it. So it's like a perfect storm. You can have two people who eat the exact same amount and two people who exercise the exact same amount and who respond differently to both of those. One person may not gain weight or may lose it. Another person will gain it and not lose it. And so what happens, you realize it's genetic. And so understanding that and kind of giving yourself grace is number one. But the main thing is, really try to eat food that's as close to the source as possible and plant-based as much as possible. And then supplement that with some supplements because our land has been stripped of its nutrients. So even when we eat plants, we're not getting the nutrients like we used to. The other is really focusing on de-stressing. I think we utilize de-stressing as a mode of health promotion and weight loss, because when you are under stress, your body gets pushed towards diabetes, gets pushed towards insulin resistance, and that promotes weight gain. And so by not addressing ways of de-stressing is another. Moving every day in whatever way you can. Not everyone has, some people have mobility issues, so they can't do, they can't do running or they can't do aerobics, but they can do, sitting in chairs and working arm muscles. Muscle toning really is the most beneficial anyway. And so that's the other. And then getting enough sleep, which is another that's underutilized, and drinking enough water. And then eating enough overall, but particularly protein, because all those things help promote weight loss, promote health, and therefore prevent also weight gain.
All amazing, amazing tips. Now, I'm actually going to switch gears and just a couple of questions about you. Why do you do, Doc?
Why do I? I'm sorry, I missed the first.
Why do you do what you do?
Why do I do what I do? I do what I do because I was misdiagnosed. I was in congestive heart failure a month after my daughter was born. And since I was obese at the time, I was on insulin as a type 2 diabetic. I was essentially dismissed as all of that being the reason why I was having symptoms. And so I went undiagnosed for almost 2 weeks. in which case my ejection fraction, my heart function dropped. And at the time, I was given a 50% chance of living 5 years. And I knew that I wouldn't see my daughters grow up. So what I did was I went for help. I asked people, help me get off my insulin, help me with my diabetes, and primarily help me lose weight, because I knew that as long as my body had so much work to do, my heart had so much work to do, I was not going to get better. And I was turned away because I was too high risk. No one wanted to touch me because of my heart function. And so I created my own program for myself. And I used that program then to reverse my health, get off insulin. I lost weight mainly by focusing on controlling my diabetes. And this has been 23 years now. I'm still here. And I'm 58 years old. This happened when I was 36. So as you can imagine, being a young person with heart disease was not fun. And so essentially I do what I do because I was trying to help people in my capacity as a community health physician do what I did, improve their health using weight loss or losing weight by improving their health. And I just didn't have the time. I wasn't given the support. Insurance companies would not cover it. So I had to do it on my own and go off on my own to do it. And like I said, now I realize the extent of the need. And so I'm taking that program and now I'm going to start teaching other doctors to do it because we need it. It is so badly needed.
Definitely needed. That is definitely an amazing reason to do it. And you know it from both sides.
Yes.
Yeah. So the other question is kind of different. And it's, with all the experiences that you've had and all the life so far, if you got a chance to meet your 20-year-old self, what would you tell them or what would you advise them?
If I were to meet my 20-year-old self, I would tell them that you are going to be able to do the things that you set out to do. At 20 years old, I wanted to be a primary care physician. I wanted to be a family physician. I wanted to help people who normally wouldn't have access to medical care. And I'm doing all those things. The other thing I wanted to be at 20 years old was a mother. And I have beautiful children and now grandchildren. And I wanted to live life on my own terms. And I would tell my 20-year-old self, plan better and don't worry as much, because eventually you're going to reach that point and you're going to get to that point. And what medicine looks like now, which was then 20 years ago, when I was 20, is not going to be what it is when you are out into the world. So just don't worry. Don't let people stick you in a box. Don't let people put you in, which I've never done at 20. Even at 20, I never let people do that to me. And so I would just say, make good choices. And the one of the most important choices, and I say this to young women all the time, really, 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 really be careful with who you choose as a partner, because your goals, where you end up in life, if you stay with that person, even if you do or if you don't, you'll either be derailed for a while and you'll have to pull yourself back on track, or you can stay on track with that person and go much, much farther with the right person by your side. And so be very intentional in your partner with when making that choice. Loneliness is a much better option than being with the wrong person. That's what I would really tell my 20-year-old self. And fortunately, I lucked out.
That's awesome. Totally agree. Very important. Thank you so much for doing this. This was amazing. Where can people find you?
So people can find me. The best way people can find me is I'm on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, LinkedIn, and basically I'm the only Dr. Catherine Harmon Toomer on the internet. So if you type in Catherine Harmon Toomer, MD, you will find me and only me.
I love it. This was so good. Thank you so much. So everybody check her out. She's amazing. And on the flip side, if you're looking for a primary care doctor, we are available to see patients at Apple Valley Family Medicine. And you can contact us at 304-350-1087 or our website, www.applevalleyfamilymed.com. So you guys have a wonderful week. Thanks again, Dr. Toomer.
Thank you for having me. Bye-bye.